A state funeral like no other which has been seen anywhere on the continent. Full military honors. Oh, and the speeches, super fascinating. Including a Mark Antony moment at the Nyayo Stadium, where the state funeral of departed icon, father of the nation, Raila Amolo Odinga, took place just a few hours ago. Welcome to my show, where I not only break that down, but I also give you glimpses of the scary immediate political future that we face as a country. I'm telling you, there's going to be such a huge impact that will follow after the passing on of Raila. You will not believe. You will never believe. And also on my show today, I make a very controversial announcement of who the Raila Odinga mantle has passed on to. Very unexpected. I'm sure it will take you completely by surprise. But this is something I'm very sure about. And I have good reason to be very sure about it. And this individual is going to have a very major impact in our politics. And will impact what is to follow for us politically. A very warm welcome to my show today. Twende kazi. The journey of life is a learning process, and I believe there is something to be learned from the utter incompetence of the government in handling the receiving of the remains of Raila Amolo Odinga to Kenya. It is like some foreigners were brought from somewhere who have no idea what Kenya is about, have no idea who Raila was, and they just put their pap and told, right guys, get this organized. It was a mess. From the minute I heard the arrangements, I started wondering, what is happening? Are these people thinking? Are these people awake? Or they are totally asleep? Are you expect that the body of Raila Odinga will be flown in? It will land at the airport, land normally, be transported normally. Hey, who? Get serious. And then you tell people that the viewing of the body will be at Parliament buildings for the public. That small place. How now? And then you transfer the thing to Kasarani, believing that these people are tired after all they walked from the airport to town with the remains of their beloved Raila. Now there's no way they'll walk to Kasarani. Nani alikuambia? Hey, my friends, this one was a different animal. A man called Raila Amolo Odinga. Wachana nae. That was a very different man. Very different. Very unique. You have to make special arrangements. Even in his death, you still have to be careful and you make special arrangements. That's how it goes. If you want to avoid embarrassment, there is no other way. You have to make arrangements. Friends, since the announcement of the news that has hit Kenya hardest for decades, the passing on of Raila Odinga in India, since that news broke, on Wednesday 15th October 2025, things in Kenya have come to a standstill. That's not an exaggeration. The government declared today, Friday the 17th, a public holiday. In my opinion, they did not have a choice. Who is going to work? This man was loved. This man was loved. There has been no other state funeral in the entire region, I'm not sure about the world, that is like that of Raila Odinga, which unfolded a few moments ago in Nairobi. There has been none. None that comes even close. Raila Odinga was honored like never before. Full military parade, full military escort, everything, including what you did not even think about. I have a question to ask. How come we did not give this great Kenyan that honor and acknowledgement when he was alive? We wait until he's gone, and then we do that to his remains. Actually, what is wrong with us humans? Please, somebody advise me. When that person is here, we don't want to acknowledge them. We don't want to appreciate them and what they're doing. We are not interested. But when they pass on, we contribute 100,000 towards funeral arrangements. And then we feel nice about ourselves. Eish! And when he was alive, you could not give him 50 bob to go and drink tea. But when he's gone, the wallet is fully open. What is wrong with the human race? Folks, I believe I'm not exaggerating when I say the whole world stood in awe. And I know many were wondering, who was this Raila Odinga? Was he the president? No. What was he? Who was he? Because Kenyans came out in their millions countrywide. Because Kenyans in their millions stopped what they were doing. And they came out to pay their respects to this great son of Kenya. Absolutely no mobilization, no fair, nothing. Kenyans organized themselves. They had to be there to welcome Baba one last time at the airport. They overwhelmed the entire security apparatus at the airport, and accessed the runway. I'm told it even started with people tracking the plane that was carrying Baba back to Kenya. Every second, every minute, until it entered Kenyan airspace, people were aware, until it touched down back on the soil of the land where this man was born and did great things. You know, if you're looking for one word to describe this man, that word has to be selfless. And in his last act of selflessness, Raila Amolo Odinga insisted that he must be buried within 72 hours, contrary to a lot of customs of the Luo community, especially for such a great man. Please let us be brutally honest here. If it was you, she would have wanted a whole month, people to mourn you a whole month and remember you, and you dominate everything for a whole month, so that even your enemies who are left behind can know who you are. Isn't that what you'd have wanted? But Baba did not want to disrupt people's lives. He knew exactly what was going to happen. He knew exactly what was going to happen. And so in his last act of selflessness, he ordered very strictly, I must be put to the ground within 72 hours when I pass on. This was a man. My friends, this was a man. Okay, we have fallen short because 72 hours have already expired and the burial is scheduled for Sunday, 48 hours from now. But still, in my opinion, Baba has saved the Kenyan economy a lot. A lot. Even when he's not here with us anymore. Selfless, always thinking of other people, always other people, their wishes, their dreams, their desires, their problems, hardly ever thinking about himself. Is it then any wonder that Kenyans love this man with so much passion, which you can even touch and feel in the air as all this goes down? Is it any wonder? Such a selfless man? Hey, Raila Odinga's state funeral was like no other in the history of Kenya. And I believe I've seen them all. From Jomo Kenyatta, Daniel Toroitich arap Moi, you name it. This one was like no other. And I don't think there'll be another one like this one. Eish! You know, as I said in my earlier video, Raila Odinga was more than a man and a politician. Raila Odinga is a brand. And brands do not die. They go out of business or out of fashion. Yeah, and they stay somewhere on a shelf where they can be revived at any time. They don't die. But in my opinion, brand Raila is still very much active and alive. And stay with me, and I will tell you who the mantle has moved to. Oh yes, it's very clear. Very clear. And you should expect to see the impact on our local politics. In my opinion, almost immediately. Forget the pretenders. Forget the politicians who are running very fast, trying to take over that mantle. Kijana ukikimbia sana, utavunja miguu. Forget those ones. The person to whom the mantle has been passed on to will shock you. Stay with me. We'll talk about that. And please don't forget that the real passing on of a mantle is spiritual more than anything else. You can't fake it. You can't force it. Anyway, we'll come to that. In my opinion, former President Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta's speech at the state funeral was a Mark Antony moment. Oh yes. You know, in the play Julius Caesar by William Shakespeare, there is a very dramatic scene where Mark Antony, whom some very powerful people were reluctant should speak at the funeral, and was only allowed to speak under certain conditions. Okay? Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta told Kenyans to pledge, to uphold what Baba stood for, and not to accept, that was the interesting part, not to accept anybody who wants to erode their hard-won freedoms. Now that is super fascinating, because immediately after the death of Baba was announced, some 8 bills were signed quickly, many of them in my opinion unconstitutional, and at least one attempting to remove those freedoms Uhuru Kenyatta was talking about. Kweli, people never change. Do you expect people to change? People never change. I also found it super fascinating, the kind of welcome, very warm welcome, Uhuru Kenyatta received from the mourners. Before Uhuru, Raila's family had spoken. Mama Ida Raila, his children. Winnie Odinga told us, shockingly, that Baba took his last breath in her arms. Those who are spiritual, take careful note. In my opinion, it is a confirmation of just how close Jacob was to his lastborn, his daughter Winnie. Now, before we go into the politics, let's tie up this state funeral manenos. Now, Uhuru Kenyatta's speech, in my opinion, is an indicator of what we should expect going forward. The spirit of Raila Amolo Odinga fighting against the current regime. Okay? Fighting against the current regime's efforts of withdrawing the basic freedoms of the people, of oppressing the people of Kenya even economically. Our economy is really, really quite dead. Most of you will agree. Now, I have reason to believe, very good reason to believe, that the Raila Odinga mantle of leadership has been passed on, not to a son, but to his lastborn, a daughter, Winnie Odinga. Keep a very close eye on Winnie going forward. I firmly believe that she's going to be a very major political force in the coming Kenya, in the new Kenya. Okay? And of course, she starts with very strong support behind her, and of course the very close mentorship of Raila the man himself, her dad. Now the politics, and let us start with the headline. It is a political fact that President William Samoei Ruto will need to replace Raila Odinga in his broad-based government as soon as possible, as soon as the day before yesterday. It is something which is very, very urgent. And so, what that means politically is that those who are enjoying power right now, those who are close to Ruto, have very suddenly outlived their usefulness. With Raila gone, some of that cabinet, people in very powerful positions, will no longer be required in those positions. They will need to be replaced pronto. Okay? And currently, only two characters are capable of taking Raila's place and thus steadying the very shaky ship that is the UDA Kenya Kwanza government. Okay? And those two individuals are Wamunyoro, Rigathi Gachagua, and the second is Babu Owino. Now, we all know that most likely none of those two characters would be interested in joining the broad-based government. But we also know that President William Samoei Ruto is a very persuasive person. After all, he persuaded Baba, contrary to all our expectations. And so it will be very interesting to see what happens next. And by the way, this is something which is so urgent, because as I said in my previous video, this government will immediately start to be very shaky. People will realize very quickly the role that Raila was playing in steadying the ship that is this government. Now, in my opinion, Gachagua is just way too bitter against what was done to him to even consider joining the Ruto government. Yeah? To even consider a Nusu Mkate government. But please humor me for a minute. Let us assume that he actually accepts and crosses over and gets the power and gets those cabinet slots, etc., etc. Let us assume he does that. One thing should be very clear. His current massive support base will not move with him. Okay, I think we all agree on that. They will stay put. He will move alone. But then, this can still help Ruto. How? Because that massive support base will lose its leader, will lose its rallying force. And therefore, in a way, for Ruto's purposes, it will have been neutralized. Okay? I'm telling you, very interesting times coming up, but also very deadly times coming up. Allow me to finish this with a riddle or two. You have stolen something very valuable from a man. That man passes on, and then you attend that person's funeral. And even you speak at that funeral. What are you thinking? What are you feeling? Huh? Because you know you're a thief. You stole something that rightfully belongs to that person who has now departed. Do you have any conscience? And if you do, what are you feeling? What are you thinking? I'm just curious. Another riddle. There was this man stuff was snatched away from him very violently. In fact, the people who snatched it away are known. But you see, this person, his character was such that if he thought for a minute that by following up for his rights, other people would get hurt, other people may lose their lives, he would always hesitate. And in most instances, he would always make the decision not to follow up, to allow those people to have his property and enjoy it. It is okay. He doesn't follow them up and is at peace. However, now that that person has passed on, those people close to the departed, those people who are now on the scene, will they allow that thing which was stolen to remain stolen? Or will they demand that it is returned to the state of the departed? What do you think? I leave you that riddle to solve it for yourself, because I have a feeling, a very nasty feeling, that going forward, that may be an issue. I could be wrong, I'm human, but I have a feeling that may be an issue. It is possible that it may be an issue, especially when people remember the life of this man, how selfless he was, what he gave. They may feel too emotionally drained to allow those things which were stolen from him in the past to remain in the hands of those who stole it. Please allow me to leave it there for now. Now I just want to remind you that we're on a countdown to midnight when my current offer expires. What offer is this? Well, in case you didn't catch the last video, it is an offer on my golden key. 1 whole year where you can get everything kumekucha at only Kenya shillings 4,999. Okay? And you may want to know, what some of this sensitive information is. Okay? Let me give you a few examples. How do you make a decision without information? How do you analyze anything without enough information? Impossible. Now in Kenyan politics, there are some things which have happened and which are still happening, which are not in the public domain. Most Kenyans do not have the information. For instance, why was General Ogolla assassinated? Are you aware that there was a very clear reason, very clear motive for the very unfortunate assassination of this great son of Kenya? Indeed, it is linked to something he refused to do. Something else. What do experts really say? What are the details of what they say about the character of President William Samoei Ruto? Why is it widely accepted amongst these experts that as long as the current UDA government remains in power, Kenya is doomed? There must be a reason, because these are not politicians. These are experts. What are they saying? Some of the things they're saying, my friends, will make your ears ring. And yet something else. Bwana Gachagua has risen up from being a one-term legislator into the most powerful politician we have in Kenya today. At least one of the most powerful we have. Did you know that he very quickly found himself up against some very powerful forces? Of course, non-Kenyan. Very powerful forces. And are you also aware that some of these forces saw very early what may be happening in Kenya? Saw very early how they can take advantage of the situation. And some of them are now actually on Gachagwa's side. Which foreign powers are these? Something else. Raila Amolo Odinga was having some very interesting meetings shortly before he vanished. The people he was talking to, either directly or through aides, super fascinating, because it doesn't make any sense. Kama ni kweli hao watu walikuwa naongea nini? What were they talking? What could they possibly discuss? They're on opposite sides of the political divide. What could they possibly discuss that is political? The answer to that question will really shock you. Now, all this information is available in various highly sensitive special reports I have produced. And today you have a small window of opportunity, just 48 hours, slightly less than 48 hours, to take advantage of my very latest offer, special offer, for my Kumekucha Golden Key, which will give you access to all these past highly sensitive special reports and this information you need to be able to analyze our politics clearly and even be able to predict what is going to happen in the future. Now, for only Kenya shillings 4,999, you can get this golden key for a whole year. Okay? What that means, for a whole year, you'll be able to get anything and everything Kumekucha without paying a single cent. This includes weekly intelligence briefings, highly sensitive special reports, and other documentaries, even non-political ones. So please rush and beat the deadline. Friends, information, especially sensitive information, is power. There's no doubt about that. You can see details on your screens right now. Just M-Pesa to that number using our usual M-Pesa telephone number. Only Kenya shillings 4,999. If you're in a position to do so, please do it right away. You will be so shocked. Your mind will be blown away with this information. Fare thee well, Agwambo. Fare thee well. And I take this opportunity to thank Almighty God for the life of Raila Amolo Odinga, because I am convinced beyond any doubt that Kenya is a better place. That Kenya, with all the things you complain about, with all the things you're not happy about, is still a better place, because a man called Raila Amolo Odinga was born here. He lived here and he did things here. Thank you so much, Almighty God, for giving us Raila Amolo Odinga. Until next time, this is Chris Kumekucha.